Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 21st June. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 10. Look at them in detail. The first one, Justice Karnan arrested in Coimbatore by West Bengal police. So we have been discussing about Justice C.S. Karnan, the first sitting judge of judiciary in India who had contempt of court proceedings initiated against him. Now he is retired and the Supreme Court had issued an arrest warrant against him. He had been evading arrest and now finally he has been arrested. So this is the news. You should know about the background actually. So this is regarding Justice C.S. Karnan. He was the sitting Kolkata High Court judge from Tamil Nadu. He is actually transferred from Madras High Court to Kolkata High Court in Feb 2016. At that time, he had issued a suo motu stay on his own transfer. So such actions have been taken. This is against the principles of natural justice. You cannot be a judge in your own case. But he passed the judgment on his own transfer order. So this was there. In May 2016, finally he took over as Kolkata High Court judge, and he later put allegations against the Supreme Court and other judges that there is corruption prevalent here. And on this, he had written a scurrilous letter to the Prime Minister as well. And finally, the Supreme Court took note of all this and initiated contempt of court proceedings against him for degrading the judiciary. So this was the case here. First time you can see in the history, a sitting High Court judge served a contempt notice. At that time, he called this illegal. He said he's been targeted because he is a Dalit. So such allegations have also been thrown by him. So here you can see he said that contempt proceedings cannot be initiated against him. It should be an offence under SC/ST Act. Rather, he said, Supreme Court asked him to not sit for sessions. He cannot sit on adjudicating cases as Kolkata High Court judge because of contempt of court proceedings going on against him. Rather, he sat as a Kolkata High Court. He sat in hearings and he passed a ruling against the Supreme Court bench. There was this 7-judge Supreme Court bench which is looking into this contempt of court proceeding against him. He passed an order calling for their arrest, for putting restrictions on their flying abroad, etc. So such actions were taken by him then. So here he said that this contempt of court proceedings is an offence. Because I am an SC/ST under Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act, this is considered as an offence and he heard these cases. So this is there. Then next is enough time given. GST will be implemented from July 1. Arun Jaitley. So this is regarding GST. It has to be implemented from 1st July. And over the last few days, we have been seeing about various points being put forth about how the country is not ready for GST. The GST network being not tested enough. GST Suvidha providers not been not have tested with the compatibility with GST network. Then also there were service providers who had put up protests that they have not been able to register because fresh registrations have not started. So there are problems and the government has also made avenues for it, to facilitate for it. Even it has been stated that it would not be taken strictly if there are any non-compliances with GST provisions initially. So it would be taken at a slow start, but it would be started with effect from 1st July. So GST would be implemented. This has been stated again, and it has also stated that 2 states where state GST law has still not been passed by the legislative bodies. These 2 states are Kerala and Jammu and Kashmir. Kerala, the government has given assurance that it would be done in a week. It is expected so. And Jammu and Kashmir, in this case, the ratification of state GST laws stands significant because of the special status of Jammu and Kashmir too. So central laws cannot apply in Jammu and Kashmir too, unless and until it is vetted by the legislative body in Jammu and Kashmir. So we'll wait for that too. And also the government has stated that we have already delayed the filing, the first filing of returns under GST. The date was August 10. It starts from 1st July. From 10th August, you have to start filing returns. But now it has been extended from August 10 to September 15. So now 2.5 months time is there. That's what the finance minister says. So those who are not ready should get ready by then. So this is there. This is the whole gist of GST. This is an old image, but then it will give you a clear idea of how the whole thing has been implemented. So the legal framework first of all was required. So there was this GST law which was formulated. First of all, of course, the constitution was amended. Then under the provisions under the constitution, GST council has also been established, and various laws, central GST, state GST, integrated GST, all these, even model GST laws for states have all been formulated. So here you can see the ratification was required as such by 50% of the states too, because it was a constitutional amendment with special majority and consent of at least half the states also, because it was affecting the entire federal framework about lawmaking, taxation powers of center as well as states. So here this first constitutional amendment done, GST council established under it, then model GST laws and central state GST laws formed. And these state GST laws have been passed by all states except we see the two discussed here, Kerala and Jammu and Kashmir. So this is there. Under GST council, we have been seeing the meetings which have been conducted, the rates finalized, even compensation for states. For the first 5 years, compensation has been assured to the states also, and that would be facilitated through the cess, which is imposed on the topmost slab, 28% slab in GST. So for some luxury items, this cess is imposed, which will be used, this amount would be used, the fund will be used, a local collection, to compensate for states when they undergo losses with transition to GST. So in initial phases, it may be expected. So this is there as the adjustment is made to the new laws. So this was there. Then the IT infrastructure was the second step. So the GST network has been established. This is the back-end system where the center, states and the intermediaries would be functioning, and the IT platform, and put in all the details, because GST requires input on all the details of transactions. Invoices have to be submitted. So this is important because at each step there would be a tax credit which would be given, input tax credit as it is called, because as I said, value added tax means what has already been taxed, you will not have to pay tax on that. So that would be deduction done later. So for that, this GST network is very important. Then the change management, that would be training officials at the central state government level, also making people aware of the GST laws. So outreach as such, sensitizing the trade and industry. So all this is the third step to finally have a smooth transition to GST. So you can see GST registrations as we have seen for existing registered details, the migration to GST. So for them, GST network registrations had started. For new dealers, this will also start soon, as we had been stated. In the news, we had discussed this also, that new dealers will also be allowed to register under GST network. Then GST returns. So common form for state and center would be there for filing GST returns, and most taxpayers to file only 4 forms as such, which have been formulated. So this will be there. The big challenge which is mentioned here is calculation of revenue base of states and working out compensation. So how much revenue they have been earning, and based on if it goes below a threshold, that they would have to be paid compensation. So that calculation all will be required, and consensus has building this has already been done. GST law is coming to light now finally. So this is there. There are many more nitty-gritties, but then they would be facilitated and smooth transition is expected. The next is the tiger is safe among Adilabad tribes. So this is regarding Adilabad district in Telangana. Here the tiger has gone ahead and entered into the village, and when it enters into villages generally and attacks the cow, the cattle there, it is seen that the villagers attack the animal, the tiger, and the tiger loses life many a times. So it is stated here that in Adilabad district, in this region where Rajgond and Kolam Adivasis reside, the tigers are safe because they worship the tiger as Rajul Kpen, the forest king and god. So that is why this is stated here that tigers are safe here. So it is this Tipeshwar Wildlife Sanctuary which is located in Yavatmal district in Maharashtra, from where the tigers enter into this Adilabad district of Telangana. So here you can see this is the Yavatmal district and this is Telangana. So this incident has happened, and Rajgond Kolam tribes again are important. So these are tribes who have the customs which are attuned to peaceful coexistence with wild animals. And the dance form too. So from culture perspective also this is important. From environment biodiversity perspective also this is important. So here the dance form of this tribe, Rajgond tribe, Dandari Khuzadi. So this dance form also takes inspiration from movement of the wild fauna. The way deer, peacock, rabbit and the tiger, the way they move are the dance forms here, also steps in this dance form. So this is you can see the masked Tappal pain dancer depicts tiger attack on cattle in this dance form. So this is there. Then this is regarding the Gond tribe. They also called Rajgond. So this was so because they were also a ruling class at one point of time. Now their political clout has declined. So this Gond people, they live in central India, especially in Madhya Pradesh, eastern part of Andhra Pradesh, the Vidarbha region, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Andhra Pradesh, Western Orissa region. So this is the place where this tribe lives, and their language is Gondi, and this language is related to Telugu and other Dravidian languages. Some of them also are Hindi speaking. Then next, Kollam tribe. So this Kollam tribe is also scheduled tribe, part of the particularly vulnerable tribal groups. They are also found in same Central Asian region, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh region. So they are Hindus and they have this language, Kolami language, which they speak. So they are an agricultural community, as you can see. They have been known to have high incidence of thalassemia among the Kollam tribes. Then next is Farmers' Body Bilquees calls of stir on government promise. So this is Bharatiya Kisan Sangh, an RSS affiliated outfit which was protesting in Rajasthan. It was asking the Rajasthan government to meet its demands with respect to the farmers. So the demands which were there were regarding that if any commodity, farm produce, is sold at a price below MSP, minimum support price in the open market, then it should be an offense under a law. So the government has now assured that a law would be formulated making it a punishable offense. So this has been the demand of farmers all over India too. And again, it has stated that on this there is already a law in MP, Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. So these laws will be studied and then such a law would be formulated. Rajasthan government has not accepted any farm loan waiver as such. Farm loan waiver, we have seen, has been accepted by UP government and Maharashtra government. And also recently we saw Punjab government providing farm loan waiver. So that is there. And the electricity bills here, relaxation has been provided, means payment can be done in 6 months rather than every 2 months as it is done presently. Again, no waiver as such provided in electricity bills too. And also it has stated that for all connections of 3 and 5 horsepowers, they will have solar panels which will be installed at the cost of the government. So this has been assured, and also it has been stated that in next 6 months all mandis will be installed with electronic weighing machines. So such assurances have been given to farmers here. The next is first indigenously built floating dock launch. So this is regarding floating dock, FDN2. So this is the indigenously built floating dock which will be used for technical repair. So a dock where ships can dock and their repair can be undertaken. So this FDN2 is the second floating dock which will be provided to the Navy. And this has been indigenously developed by L&T. And the first floating dock is already in operation, and that is there in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Even this floating dock too will be docked there. So this is there. And this docking operation which will be possible for it will be for all kinds of ships, submarines up to 8,000 ton displacement. So it cannot take care of aircraft carriers and tankers. Apart from that, all other ships, naval ships, submarines can be provided facilities here at floating dock 2 for technical repairs. Then next is, do CRPF Jawans have human rights? So this is actually an RTI application which was submitted to CRPF, Central Reserve Police Force, and this was an RTI specifically asking that the 25 CRPF Jawans who lost their lives in April 2017 attack in Sukma district in Chhattisgarh. We have seen this, this was a gruesome attack. They were providing safety to the road construction, the infrastructure development which was going on there, and they were attacked. And this killing of 25 CRPF personnel is called a human rights violation, and based on that, RTI application has been put forth asking the CRPF to give details regarding it. But then CRPF has stated that we have conducted an internal inquiry on this attack, and response to the RTI has been that this is not a human rights violation. So no details can be provided as such. Because under the RTI Act, you can see section 24, it exempts security and intelligence agencies from RTI provisions. You can't ask information. You don't have right to information on security and intelligence agencies, because this is crucial information which cannot be put up in public domain. So that is why this has to be safeguarded. But then two exceptions are given, that even for security intelligence agencies, RTI provisions would apply if there is a case of human rights violation or corruption. So these two exceptions are there, but then CRPF had earlier also stated there is no human rights violation. Even in an earlier attack by Maoists, civilians had also died. At that time also it stated this is not a human rights violation, we are not giving any details. And right now too, after CRPF Jawans lost their life, RTI response has been the same. It is not a human rights violation. So this is a question raised by this RTI activist, that is this not a human rights violation that people are losing life, civilians lost life, the CRPF Jawans lose lives. So this is the question raised here. The next is IF inquiry into Pathankot attack finds serious lapses. So we know about the Pathankot airbase attack in January 2016, after the relations with Pakistan also deteriorated after this. So this was heavily armed Pakistani terrorist attack on Air Force base in Pathankot in Punjab. So here 4 security personnel were killed and even 4 attackers were killed in a fierce gun battle. So here there is an inquiry which has been launched, a court of inquiry by the Indian Air Force, and this has provided the details, and it says it has found serious lapses in the airbase's security as well as handling of the incident. So it says that the terrorists, they were staying there, but they did not know, it was not known, they had their ropes which were there, which they used to scale the perimeter wall as such. The personal clothing items, food items left behind the terrorists, all this was there, but that was not detected. Despite the fact that the base was on high alert, there was intelligence also, prior intelligence, that there could be an attack. Still, there was no comprehensive plan in place. This has been put forth by this court of inquiry of the Indian Armed Force regarding Pathankot Air Base. The commander of Pathankot Air Base at that time, Mr. Dhamoon, has already been retired. He's taken a premature retirement on his own accord. So he has also been named in the inquiry, because this is a complete lapse, a failure in the effective functioning of the airbase. So the standard operating procedures also, the report says, they had not been followed too. There are requirements to secure installations, but they had been violated. Post guards should be there at posts. They were not properly maintained. Floodlights should be there in place, not functioning properly. So all these have been put forth in this report, and it says the Garud commandos which are there of the Indian Air Force, they have failed, and there is a requirement to make them ready for deployment as such. So they should be deployed in counterinsurgency operations in Jammu and Kashmir to gain experience. Then they would be well prepared for such cases, incidents. So this is also being stated in the report. Then next is Pakistan begins fencing border with Afghanistan amid tense ties. So this is regarding Pakistan-Afghanistan relations. The line which divides the two countries is this land boundary called Durand Line. So this Durand Line is what was decided by Britishers. So this is again a British commission. The way India-Pakistan boundary is Ratcliffe Line, this is the Durand Line. So this Durand Line is not accepted by Afghanistan. Now Pakistan government, so this was largely unpatrolled border between Pakistan and Afghanistan, because of which even Afghanistan for that matter has suffered that the terrorists, they conduct attacks in Afghanistan and go back to Pakistan. So now Pakistan government has started fencing this border. It's 2,400 kilometer border. So this is opposed by Afghanistan because it does not accept this boundary, the Durand Line as such. So this runs through mountainous terrain. So it has largely been unpatrolled till date. So lack of policing has also resulted in escalation of tensions between the two nations. The next is Reliance's latest KG Basin energy foray, a gamble. So this is regarding Reliance Industries investment in Krishna Godavari KG D6 basin. So this we had seen few days back in news that Reliance and British Petroleum have come together, signed an agreement to invest around $6 billion in KG-D6 block. So here already Reliance has invested around $9 billion. And despite this investment, the generation of gas as such from this has been less than 1/10 of the projected output. So projected output was 80 mmsc MD, means million metric standard cubic meters per day. So this 80 was the projected output, but generation was less than 1/10. So that's why when the production was not up to the mark, so underproduction and inflation of cost resulted in this case of KG-D6 block going into arbitration. Reliance said this was unviable. So the new pricing formula has also now brought forth by the government, but this new pricing formula does not apply to those blocks which are under arbitration. And presently KG-D6 block is under arbitration. So we'll have to see what happens on that too. Even this earlier investment, Reliance was able to recover costs after 30% of its stake was sold to British Petroleum in 2011. So this was the case here, and underproduction has been there even from 2010 to 2017. The production has seen a sharp decline in this KG-D6 block, and now after 8 years of lull, now fresh investment is being announced. So that questions again are raised: how has the situation changed on ground? How will this investment benefit? What are the benefits which it will gain? Anyway, Reliance has stated that this is not viable. Then how will fresh investment assist it? And how will British Petroleum benefit out of this investment? So these are the questions raised here in this. So KG-D6 has actually faced various issues. This is one case of gas migration. So ONGC also has its region here in which it is conducting exploration, 98/2 area as it is called, and KG-D6 block is also adjacent. So there was natural gas migration which took place, and on this a case was initiated that 11.122 BCM, billion cubic meters, gas has migrated. So the government had asked Reliance to provide for this penalty, a penalty of 247 million. Means this was on the profit which Reliance got because of this migrated natural gas. This was imposed on Reliance. Reliance said that it is entitled to recover expenditure in relation to migrated gas taken out too. But then ONGC said first you pay the penalty based on the monetary value of migrated gas, then you can recover expenditure. So this was the case of gas migration here. Then after the KG-D6 block became unviable since costs escalated and the production had gone down, Reliance asked for surrender of KG-D6 area and arbitration was initiated. It resulted in huge delay in any development taking place in KG-D6 block. So this was the case here. Finally, the government had also come up with new rules for pricing in difficult fields as such too. But then since the case is in arbitration, as we just saw, it will not apply to KG-D6 block. So if government makes changes here, then KG-D6 will also benefit. Also, another issue was of audit report of CAG. CAG had highlighted some expenditures which were shown by Reliance in this case. It also stated that already Reliance has recovered $9.2 billion of 10.44 billion invested by it in KG-D6 basin. So already recovery of investment has happened to a significant extent. So this was also there. It also stated, the CAG report stated that government should share cost of discoveries that are found to be commercially viable as such in the public domain. So then the last news item is GDP growth to rise to 7.5% in financial year 2019. So this is Fitch, the credit rating agency, the big three. Out of the big three, one is Fitch. So one of the big three credit rating agencies, the other two being Standard & Poor's and Moody's. So Fitch Rating has given its projection for India's GDP growth, and it says from 7.4% in 2017-18, India's GDP would growth rate would be 7.5% in 2018-19 and 7.6% in 2019-20. So this is its projection. It says this is based on the growth which would be boosted by goods and services tax which will be implemented. Even public spending on infrastructure has increased, and the supportive monetary policy over the last 2 years also bode well for the economy. It was also said that the global growth is also recovering and strengthening. So on those lines too, world GDP is also expected to go to 3.1% in 2018. as against 2.5% in 2016. So this is there as such stated. So these are the news items. Thank you.